Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi Achint. I have with me my friend Suzanne Bernert, who's going to tell us about Germany. Yeah, Germany. Or should we call it Germanistan? That's the question that I'm asking her
नहीं
today.
नहीं 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 अभी तक तो फिलहाल नहीं है इतनी जल्दबाजी का काम नहीं है ना
अब
नहीं
वो सब तो
मैं क्या हाँ मैं क्या कह रही हूँ बहुत मुश्किल चीज है क्योंकि वो लोग वो खिलाफ है वो प्रो है वो बिल्कुल मीडियम चीज पॉलिटिकल पार्टी नहीं है कि वो बिल्कुल सोच समझ कर ये डिसाइड कर सकते कि हमारे देश के लिए जर्मनी के लिए क्या अच्छा है everybody is going into extremes and that
hmm,
scares me as well so I don't
hmm,
I don't understand how to tackle this problem नहीं हमने ये तो पहले बातचीत किया इसके बारे में कि पिछले साल नहीं इस साल में मई अप्रैल के आसपास हैम्बर्ग में एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन हुआ था फॉर अ कैलिफेट
hmm.
और ये अभी भी हुआ था लेकिन मैं जेरूसलम पोस्ट के अलावा मैं कोई न्यूज आउटलेट मैंने देखा नहीं था पे तो आई डोंट नो व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन
नहीं प्रोटेस्ट देयर वाज अ प्रोटेस्ट था बड़ा
या
जबरदस्त
या
प्रोटेस्ट ऊपर
लेकिन मैं
एंड
एक न्यूज आउटलेट इट्स ऑल कमिंग बोथ सारे पुराने न्यूज आते रहते जो आपको गूगल में डालना है तो ये खबर इस बार का खबर मैंने कभी देखा नहीं जेरूसलम पोस्ट के अलावा वहां पे कुछ न्यूज में आया था बिकॉज हमारा चांसलर भी कहा था ये पहले डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन के बाद दिस कांट बी हैपनिंग देयर हैव टू बी कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस दिस इज नॉट गुड टू हैपन सो
बट मेरे को जो द प्रॉब्लम मेरे को जो दिखता है विच इज समथिंग मेरे को जो आपसे बात करना था इज अबाउट सी आई डोंट पॉलिसी वॉलिसी के बारे में तो हम लोग वी टॉक क्वाइट अ बिट जो मेरे को आपसे बात करना है इज अबाउट पीपल यू वर अ सिटीजन ऑफ जर्मनी यू आर अ जर्मन बाय ओरिजिन आपको पता है वहां पर लोग जब आप देखो एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट होता है व्हेन इन इंडिया व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट सर्टेन थिंग्स जब कोई एक चीज बोलते हैं उसका एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट है देयर इज एन इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट टू इट ठीक है द
या
सेम लैंग्वेज यूज्ड इन अमेरिका विल हैव अ डिफरेंट कॉन्टेक्स्ट टू इट एंड जब हमारे जैसे एनालिस्ट इसको देखते हैं वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ व्हाट इज बीइंग स्पोकन rather than the news itself because context में hidden story होता है फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको बताता हूँ चाइना में whenever you're studying China talks about the king and the council. Now what does that mean? उसका अंदर का बात क्या है वो समझना पड़ता है हमको. Till the time you don't know Chinese history आपको वो समझ में नहीं आएगा. And that is why
या
I'm interested to talk to you. So the question is जब ये चीजें वहां पर होता है सोशल मीडिया इज ओपन एंड कितना लोग इसके बारे में लिखते हैं व्हाट डू यू थिंक पीपल आर फीलिंग जो थोड़ी बहुत वहां पर पॉपुलेशन है जिनकी हु आर अवेक राइट हु आर लिटरली अवेक
Yeah, I saw a study, I saw research that they did, and they asked the population, the younger people up to 30, I think, they asked them, what are you afraid of? What is the one thing that you're afraid of? And they were like 50%, 70%, 60%. I don't have the exact numbers. And it was terror attacks people were scared of, and they were scared of immigration. Like the immigration that is
uncontrolled.
like the uncontrolled immigration. It's not like that people were always like okay with having people in the with foreigners or immigrants coming into the country. मेरी माँ भी बहुत मेहनत किया मदद किया. She was doing a social circle. वो वहाँ जाकर लोगों को मदद किया who were coming into the country as asylum seekers, but there were Koreans there, North Koreans there were people from Africa there. It was बहुत mixed वाली चीज. Romania was there. सो नाउ मैंने ये रिसर्च देखने के बाद आई वाज लाइक ओ माय गॉड ये बहुत इतना चेंज हो गया था क्योंकि वो मुझे नहीं लगता ये लोगों वो टेरर अटैक्स के बारे में हमारे देश में कभी घबराने की जरूरत थी आई डोंट थिंक दे वर एवर had to be scared of an attack like that और जब से वो अटैक हुआ था क्रिसमस मार्केट में जर्मनी में और ये अभी ये इतने सारे नाइफ अटैक्स हुए थे तो मुझे लगता है ये वो सुरक्षित महसूस कि हमारे देश के अंदर बहुत एस्टेब्लिश थे, बहुत अंदर से, या हमारा देश है, सब ठीक है, ये it has walked out the door. Let's put it like that.
What do
What
people
is a
talk
sad
about the
situation?
what do people talk about the economy? वैसे भी वहाँ पर इकोनॉमिक हालत खराब है, स्पेशली जब से
Hmm.
ये यूक्रेन का वॉर शुरू हुआ है, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ
Hmm.
प्रॉब्लम्स एज फार एज द इकोनॉमी इज कंसर्न. आपका जो एक
It's
मेन
very
गैस
expensive.
पाइपलाइन, या गैस
Yeah.
पाइपलाइन था, वो खत्म हो गया है. कॉस्ट
Hmm.
ऑफ लिविंग के बारे में देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ वर्ड. बट यहाँ पर आपका जो फॉरेन मिनिस्टर है एनालिना बेरबॉक, उनकी
Hmm.
तरफ से ये स्टेटमेंट आता है कि आई डोंट केयर इफ माय ओन पीपल नीड टू सफर बट वी विल सपोर्ट यूक्रेन एट ऑल कॉस्ट्स.
या
नाउ
उनके
एज अ
पास तो पैसे हैं
जर्मन,
ना, उनकी जेब में तो 11,000 है ना महीने का, यूरो.
दैट्स अ सैलरी.
That's what my mom said. That is what a minister usually gets.
वाओ.
I don't know the exact amount, but I think they're giving themselves increases and they make a lot of money. Let's just say they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money.
11,000 euros a month.
Let me just see. I think it is just, it sounds ridiculous, no?
नहीं, ठीक है, आई मीन आई एम क्वाइट श्योर, क्योंकि एनालिना बेरबॉक के पीछे तो काफी एक रूमर्स भी चलते हैं कि वो, उनका तो 500 यूरोस का मेकअप होता है बिफोर एनी मीटिंग,
Yeah. Yeah.
एंड वो जो स्टेट पे करती है उसके लिए, तो उसके ऊपर भी एक काफी ड्रामा चला था. अब वो इतनी अच्छी
Okay,
तो
I
लगती
have
नहीं है
that.
कि
की जरूरत है. Yeah, yeah, it is. Since 1st July 2024, the monthly remuneration, ये गलत है, received by the members of the Bundestag has been set at 11,227 euros.
नो
And
दैट्स
there are
गोइंग टू बी.
people who have to, there are people who are, they have set the number of what is the limit for being at the poverty line at 2,500 euros. If you earn that money, you're in the poverty, in poverty. There's around 2.5 lakhs. It's crazy. ये कोरोना से पहले मैं और मेरा लेट हस्बैंड वहां गए थे मामा पापा के पास हॉलीडे के लिए. और नॉर्मली कॉफी शॉप के अंदर बैठने की जगह वो कॉफी was maybe 2 euros, 250. Now it is 455.
5 यूरोस फॉर अ कप ऑफ कॉफी
Yeah. और वो
सड़क
स्पेशल
पे.
कॉफी भी नहीं है. या नॉर्मल नॉर्मल नहीं, कॉफी शॉप के अंदर बहुत, वहां तो सब सुंदर है, ये तो कोई सवाल नहीं है, वहां सब ऑर्गेनाइज है, सुंदर है वहां. वो छोटा सा कॉफी शॉप भी है, वो वहां भी ठीक है.
यार सुंदर को क्या
लेकिन
करेगा मैं, सुंदर को क्या
लेकिन
करेगा.
सुपरमार्केट, मेरी माँ बहुत कंप्लेन करते हैं कि वो पहले वो 100 यूरोस की शॉपिंग हुई थी, एक हफ्ते में 100 यूरोस पूरे शॉपिंग कर सके थे. अभी आजकल नहीं होगा. यू बाइंग a few छोटे छोटे चीज खरीदना, इसलिए वो सारे डिस्काउंटर्स बहुत पॉपुलर है आजकल.
हम्म.
एवरीबॉडी इज गोइंग टू द डिस्काउंटर्स, अल्डी, लीडल, वहां जाकर वहां तो अच्छी तरह से कुछ खरीद सकते. It's a
आई
difficult
मीन.
situation. It is like, and I a friend of my mom, she has MS, multiple sclerosis. ठीक है.
हम्म.
और वो अभी तक काम करने की इच्छा थी. So पूरे जॉब पूरे काम नहीं पूरी हुई. She could not do a proper job, but she was working a little bit to up her government money she was getting, because basically she's handicapped. Now she can't do it anymore. So she's sitting in the office, the social structure office, and they're saying, "Nee, yaar, aap to ye लो, ये papers चाहिए, वो papers चाहिए, ये papers चाहिए, वो papers चाहिए." And she said a man came inside with 3 children, except for his name and the word asylum. He couldn't see anything. He walked out with 3,000 euros in his hand. That was my expression. That was my expression as well. And this is not hearsay. This is not a newspaper article. This is people I know. I know her. I know her for a fact. So she's not making things up, because normal लोगों के अंदर there's also कोई कोई बुरी सोच भी नहीं है ना, that you're thinking ये बुरी चीज दूसरे लोगों के ऊपर सोचने का आदत नहीं है. She's not like that. She's not thinking in a bad way. So उनकी आदत है ये सब ठीक है और ये देखने के बाद उनकी स्ट्रगल के बाद कि गवर्नमेंट की साइड से मदद चाहिए, गवर्नमेंट की साइड से सुरक्षा सहायता चाहिए, कि उनका अधिकार है एक्चुअली हमारे कानून के हिसाब से. It's the law, no? That you are paying taxes, and then when you are in trouble, then those taxes are being used for you to support you. And then XYZ person is coming in and walking out with 3,000 euros. I was like, Mama, what happened? ये कैसे हो गया?
3,000 euros.
Yeah.
इंटरेस्टिंग. मतलब
Yeah.
जर्मनी का एक ट्रिप मारो तो जो फ्लाइट का टिकट वापस जेब में.
I don't think it's so easy. I don't want to encourage anybody, but मुझे लगता है
Yeah,
इतना आसान है.
neither do I. Neither do I. But
लेकिन
Germany
ये
का.
तो this is fitting that story where somebody was coming wanting to buy a Greek guy. He was going to the media shop to buy a laptop for his son or daughter. I think daughter. And he wanted to have a certain laptop and he's looking and the guy asked him, are you from the Ukraine? And he said, no, I'm from Greece. And he said, oh, if you would have been from the Ukraine, you would have gotten a government subsidy and a discount and this and that. Also anecdotal, also a neighbor of my mom. So whatever I'm telling here is real stories by real people. This is not some bahana or ये किसी.
That's why I like talking to you about this subject is because आपके पास human input है. News तो मैं भी
Yeah.
पढ़ सकता हूँ. I can also read the news. That's not a problem. And I know what's happening in Germany politically. मुझे पता है कि Chancellor Scholz की government is very weak. मुझे पता है कि उनकी government में decisions वो नहीं लेते हैं. The decisions are taken by Annalena Baerbock and who's that garden guy?
Nancy. Or
The
Nancy.
yeah. So
Merz?
yeah, these kind of people, the globalists जिनको बोलते हैं, ठीक है. Germany and Europe is a garden and the rest is a jungle. तो ये चीजें भी बोली जाती हैं वहां पर.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, they said this. Oh, I forget the guy's name. I'll tell you. It'll come to me. But the question that I'm asking you, Ukraine. Now आपने Ukraine बोला, तो let's come to that a little bit. You studied in Germany, right? आपने बचपन
I
अपना.
just went to school. I just went to
Yeah.
normal 10-year school. As an actor, you don't need to study. So I was like, oh, they bitches. I need to do my acting only. I don't need to
No, that's
study
fine. But you
anything.
studied there. You've lived there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you were 20 when you came into India, so you know what was happening there and stuff. Is Russian hatred real in Germany?
I didn't come across anything like that. No.
Then why
I
is
have a
every
I have
German
a
today
bestie.
hating
I have a
Russia?
bestie from St. Petersburg. A bestie of mine lives in Berlin and she's married to a German guy and she's facing a lot of problems now. Never before.
But ये
Never before.
anti-Russia, why is this anti-Russia sentiment इतना ज़्यादा क्यों है अभी?
I don't know. I they make it वो न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने के बाद ऐसा लगता है वो कल जर्मनी को अटैक कर रही.
बहुत दूर है.
और अगर वो जानकारी वो न्यूज़ में आते रहते. You know that, no? Who said that line? If you just keep on saying the wrong stuff, news, फालतू चीज, you keep on saying the wrong things, something will stick, even if it's wrong.
But
So I
मेरे
think
को
it's
ये
in that direction. I don't like. I think the normal person आज का भी रशिया के खिलाफ कुछ भी नहीं है. My papa's more scared. They make it really sound like they're gonna attack any moment.
from where?
I don't know. They say Putin is crazy. Putin will attack tomorrow or next year, and there will be a world war. And he wants to take Ukraine so he can advance and he can take over Europe. This is the narrative there. I said, Papa, ये कहाँ से लिया? या newspaper से लिया? And if you अगर ये रोज आते रहते ये वाले खबर और पेपर में या ऑनलाइन में या टीवी न्यूज में तो धीरे धीरे ये जानकारी तुम्हारे दिमाग में फंस जाते हैं मेरे हिसाब से.
बट अगर मैप देखेगा बीच में बेल्जियम, sorry, you've got Poland, you've got such big countries बीच में, ऐसे कैसे घुस जाएगा वो ऐसे आके?
अगर ये असुरक्षित फीलिंग आजकल है जर्मनी में, ये चीजें बहुत आसानी से प्लान कर सकते हो. It's a very ripe earth for any kind of षड्यंत्र theory, ये वो फलाने ढिकाने. It's very easy to do anything there right now. मुझे लगता है ये इसलिए वो सब ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है अभी.
I mean, आपके बीच में you've got यूक्रेन बचा है अभी, पोलैंड है, चेक रिपब्लिक है, ऑस्ट्रिया है, स्लोवाकिया है, हंगरी है,
Yeah, yeah.
पोलैंड है. I mean, कहाँ मैप देखो यार एक बारी. I mean,
That is maybe also जैसे हमारे अलावा कोई इतना महत्वपूर्ण नहीं है. I think maybe to some extent German, like every country thinks they're the most important, don't they?
well, in India, no. You know it very well.
ये भारत कुछ अलग चीज है. She's
भारत
a
एक अलग
different
देश का
beauty.
मूली है, हाँ?
Yeah, she's a different beauty.
Yeah, it's a different beauty altogether, actually.
Hmm.
But ये जो यूक्रेन वाले लोग हैं, जर्मनी में about 1 million Ukrainians are there. 500, 700,000
Wow,
कुछ लोग बोलते
that's
हैं.
a lot.
Some people say 1 million Ukrainians are there. 10 लाख यूक्रेनियन वहां पर हैं. How do people in Germany look at these Ukrainians? अभी कितना 3 years होने को आया है कि वो they're just staying there.
I would
And
have
जब
to
आप
ask because
जब
वो normal बातचीत में कुछ आ नहीं रही है. ये कहानियां मैंने कह दिया वो आसानी से मैं किसी मामा ने कहा या मेरा दोस्त ने कहा और यूक्रेन के बारे में कुछ नहीं.
nobody talks about
I
it.
think there's not really. I think there's a
Wow.
lot of first Corona happened, yeah. Then the war happened. Now another one is going on with Palestine and Israel. I think people are then these knife attacks are happening. Everybody gets so it's like daily life बहुत मुश्किल है, yeah. जो भी मैं पैसे I'm making the much money I'm making is not enough to live the life that I want to live. I can't give my children what I want to give them. I can't give my parents what I want to give them. I'm paying high taxes. The money goes somewhere else. The health infrastructure is crumbling. The normal infrastructure is crumbling to some extent. बहुत असुरक्षित feeling. So I don't think they have the energy to talk about anything else. मैं कई लोगों से बात भी किया ऐसे नहीं मैं न्यूज़ नहीं पढ़ने का मन नहीं है पढ़ने की हिम्मत नहीं है न्यूज़ देखने की हिम्मत नहीं है. And they had another wave of corona by the way. यहाँ तो कोरोना की कोई बात नहीं है वहाँ अभी इतने सारे केसेस हुई.
when आप इसको देखते हो, आप दूर दूर से इसको देख रहे हो, आपकी कंट्री जो ओरिजिनल कंट्री है उसमें ये जो चीजें हो रही हैं, आपको क्या फीलिंग आता है कि यार डू यू बिकॉज आप तो यू आर एबल टू सी द मीडिया इन इंडिया व्हिच इज
Yeah,
बाय फार कोई इतना रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है.
yeah,
ठीक है,
all over the
देयर इज नो
place.
रिस्ट्रिक्शन,
Yeah.
एवरीबॉडी टॉक्स अबाउट एनीथिंग दैट दे वांट टू. कोई
Yes, yes. They're
लिमिट
like no freedom of speech. I said, where,
रियली.
what? Everybody can say what they want to do.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when you read the media and when you see कि यार ये जर्मनी में क्या हो रहा है, and जो हमारे न्यूज़ चैनल्स हैं, people keep talking about it. If you don't want this to happen to you, get together.
Yeah.
Don't let these radicals take over your society. और जो
Mm,
अभी प्रोटेस्ट हुआ था उसके ऊपर काफी सारे सोशल मीडिया पे पोस्ट आए थे कि लुक एट दिस
mm.
प्रोटेस्ट, दिस इज सो स्कैरी दैट वहां पर खुले में बोलते हैं बीच में सड़क में खड़े होके जर्मन्स कैन गो अवे, वी वांट टू क्रिएट अ कैलिफेट हियर, हमको शरिया लॉ
Yeah.
चाहिए इधर.
I went to his page. I went on the Instagram. I looked at his page and he said the caliphate is the answer where Muslims, Christians, and Jews can live together in peace and harmony. I feel मुझे लगता है कि भारतीय लोग पॉलिटिकल चीज के बारे में बहुत अवेयरनेस है और इतना अवेयरनेस मेरे देशभक्त का नहीं है. They are not
क्यों?
really that much into
Why?
politics.
Why?
So
Germans used to be very political people. सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर तक जो politicization हुई थी जर्मन सोसाइटी की, right? Everybody was involved in
Yeah.
politics, everybody was involved somewhere or the other. And even जो सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद का टाइम था, जो कोल्ड वॉर का टाइम था, जब ईस्ट जर्मनी वेस्ट
Mm,
जर्मनी था,
mm.
एवरीबडी वाज पोलिटिसाइज्ड. ये यूनिफिकेशन जो जर्मनी का हुआ, उसके बाद व्हाट हैपेंड टू जर्मनी दैट इट्स लॉस्ट ऑल पॉलिटिकल एम्बिशंस.
What I told you, I think जो लोग वो interested थे वो कोरोना के बाद और ये अभी यूक्रेन वॉर देख के just एनर्जी खत्म. कोई कोई एनर्जी बाकी नहीं है ये चीजों का.
दैट्स सो
You
सरप्राइजिंग
have
दैट
to
टेल्स
be,
यू दैट
you have to be, you have to be wanting to sing. Yeah. And there are these कई लोग को उसका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, कई लोग बहुत लेफ्ट है और कई लोग बहुत राइट है. और बिल्कुल बीच में वो बिल्कुल हर चीज के ऊपर देखना पड़ेगा क्या है, कैसा है, क्या करना है, क्यों करना है, ये बहुत कम लोग हैं.
बिकॉज दैट टेल्स यू उस कंट्री में सिविल सोसाइटी इज डेड देन.
इट्स अ वेरी एज्ड पॉपुलेशन एज वेल ना. मैंने पिछले शायद में मैंने भी कहा था ना 47 एवरेज एज है और इन भारत का 24.
26.
तो ये 24 मैंने देखा 36
26.
26 26 हाँ 24 20 हाँ 20 के आसपास.
It's young, it's young, it's young. There's no question. And it's
It's
going to get
yeah.
younger for some time and then it'll start aging a little bit. So, yeah, we've got a lot of time to.
Maybe it is uh egoistical. You know, I'm comfortable. I'm living my life. मेरा आगे पीछे right left का क्या लेना देना है. I think it's some people have a fatigue. They just can't handle it anymore. They get depressed. They get sad. They don't know how to handle it. And some people they just like egoistically. I make my money. ये मेरा घर है, मेरी बीवी है, ये मेरी बिल्ली है, ये मेरा हॉलीडे है, मैं ये कर सकती हूँ, वो कर सकती हूँ, उसके अलावा भाड़ में जाओ.
You know, this, ये जो आप बोल रहे हो, this is an eye opener for the population in India because people who are going to see the show, I'm going to just tell them right here कि देखो guys, ये होता है जब एक society अंदर से मर जाती है. People are just not interested what happens. भाई मेरा तो सब कुछ सेट है, मेरा सेविंग्स है, मैं जी लूंगा, मेरा लाइफ जी लूंगा, बाकी क्या होता है आगे मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
That's exactly मैं माइत्री से बात हुई. She's a fan of mine and she said जब वो कोलकाता का हुआ था और कुछ अलग कुछ हुआ था, some attack happened in their housing society, कुछ हुआ था. She said कोई आंसर नहीं किया WhatsApp ग्रुप में. They're all in that WhatsApp group और सारे यार middle income, उनका पैसे है, उनका ये है, वो है, so they're not interested in that. If society gets too comfortable, then yeah, then you put social media on top of it. Young people want to be influencers. Young people want to have an easy life. They just want to go like shopping and having a good life and just don't nothing complicated or difficult, please.
You know, last time हमने एक चीज डिस्कस करी थी about the economy. हमने बात करा था कि there's a lot of economic problems and this and that. Today we are talking more on the societal and the civil problems that the country is facing.
Hmm.
But जो मेरे को दिखता है कि this all is the problem, जो आपका ये problem है, this is made by the US of A. जो आपका एक अलायंस है
Agree.
यूएसए के साथ, जर्मनी का एक
Yeah.
अलायंस है यूएसए के साथ कि भाई यू नो व्हाटएवर द यूएस सेज जर्मनी विल डू एंड यूएस रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करता है उसको. कितना टाइम जर्मन पीपल विल टॉलरेट दैट? बिकॉज एक टाइम आएगा when people will say what the hell are we doing to ourselves, or will that time never come? Is it over? What
I
is
don't
your
know.
reading?
I don't know. It's very hard to say क्योंकि जो वो alternative for Germany AfD ये सुनने के बाद मुझे पता नहीं वो भी कोई आंसर नहीं है. They are also not the answer. ये political parties. You have the बहुत left, बहुत liberal और बहुत right, बहुत ये वो Second World War Nazi era adjacent कुछ हो रहा है. ये भी ठीक नहीं है. Why can't we have something normal? ये बीचों बीच में कुछ है ही नहीं normal चीज का.
Are they actually Nazis कि ये एक मीडिया नैरेटिव है?
they're using the slogans, and there are people who are actually using the salute, and they are reading the books, and they're doing the that kind of a. That's why
I don't find
Zara
anything wrong with.
Wagenknecht,
I don't find
Wagenknecht
anything.
left
Yeah. Hmm.
left that because she said that it's not mine. She made her own party
I don't have a problem with
because
people reading. Reading is positive. I mean, you get to know what happened. Like in
depends
India, जब
who
वो
reads.
अडोल्फ हिटलर का जो वो बुक आया था, मेन काम्फ,
Hmm.
India was very
Yeah, अभी
popular.
भी
People wanted to read
अभी
because
भी
India
है
people read
डायरेक्टली
anything. People read
डायरेक्टली
anything.
गांधी की बाजू में है हमेशा बुक
Yeah, it's
शॉप के
there.
अंदर
I don't find
इट्स
anything
देयर
wrong with it. पढ़ो, read about it.
सो
What's wrong in that? It's history. It happened. So you need to read. At least educate yourself so that it doesn't happen in your country.
yeah it's just very boring book I couldn't read it
I did. I didn't find it to be impressive. I don't know how a whole population got indoctrinated.
very bad book नहीं
I
नहीं
didn't
I
find it
think
impressive. It was
किताब
not very well
मुझे नहीं
written.
लगता
मेरे को
किसी मुझे नहीं लगता
हाँ,
किसी ने पढ़ लिया मुझे लगता है वो अभी I'm reading a book and I think it was more the rhetoric it was the speeches it was the talk I don't
yeah,
think it
yeah.
was the book I don't think the book
I
is
didn't find it to be impressive. It was very average writing, although his उसकी drawing showing अच्छी होती थी, which are still there
Hmm.
available in Germany in certain museums, which you can find his drawings still there. But I didn't find his writing to be that impressive. So I don't know what really happened there. It was a fair enough. I mean, it was a statement of fact sort of a thing. We should do this, we should do that, we should do this. Blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. Nothing more than that. Coming towards the end, what do you think is the solution for Germany? Because see, why I keep focusing on Germany is because Germany is Europe. Tomorrow, if Germany falls,
Yeah.
the so-called European Union is over. It's finished, and Germany is already edge of a recession, right there, right there.
Yeah, yeah, I know. मुझे मालूम है
So,
मुझे मालूम
what do
है
you
पता
think
नहीं
is
है
the
क्या
future
होने
of
वाला है
Germany?
बहुत मुश्किल चीज है
When you go there,
क्योंकि मुझे कोई
when was the
I don't
last
see
you
an
went?
alternative March
March. What did you see on the
I'm going
street?
in November I'm going
What
in
did you
November
What did you see on the street in March?
it's a small town I just saw normal people a lot
Did
of
you see
old people
a lot of
a lot
asylum
of old
seekers?
people not in my area
What about in
not
Berlin
in my
and the main cities?
probably I think they have more I think in my area has it and people are like wary about it just steer clear of that building and the building around but
That's interesting.
you see there is this guy who came from Croatia
Hmm.
and he shifted to Germany integrated children are going to the German school they speak German he studied his like mad so he could do the test to become a train conductor a train running the train. So he worked very hard to do that. So he's integrated. Then there's this Greek guy with his family. He's also working in the society. He's integrated. They speak, the children all speak German. Then there's the Indian guy who's living next to my parents. She's from UP, he's from Bengal. The daughter speaks German. The daughter speaks a little bit of Hindi. The daughter speaks English. They're integrated. So there are a lot of people who are coming and they want to live in Germany. Germany needs qualified people. Germany needs qualified. They need doctors. They need nurses. They need mechanics. They need engineers. They need basically everything because of the aged population. A lot of people have retired and there's nobody to fill up the gaps.
You're living in India. आप हिंदी बोलते हो. You dress up like an Indian. That's called integration. When you live in a
Yeah,
place, you
yeah.
behave
Then
like
you should do that. Yeah.
you
And
should.
I just saw this just reminded me of this documentary. मैंने एक documentary देखा और इसमें Ukrainian doctors थे. Trained doctors. पूरा का university सब कुछ किया and they were already working as doctors. They are not allowed in Germany to work. आपका
Right?
सबूत कहाँ है आप कैसे explain they want more proof they have to go through a whole very difficult assessment and they have to we have a dearth of doctors and they make it so difficult for qualified people to become doctors what do you think it's so different what a person studies in Ukraine what the person studies in Germany do you think they're so great At least let them work on some capacity,
I mean,
What I've seen is a lot of doctors. You have a hard time getting appointment with doctors. You have a hard time getting an appointment when you're sick. You have a hard time getting any kind of like here when I'm sick, can go to 10 different places and there's a doctor. And there's this minus in that department. So there's a lot of things that are attacking what used to be normal and absolutely. Yeah, normally accessible. 25 years ago, you needed a doctor's appointment, call, get one, go next day. It's not like that anymore.
you need an appointment.
Yeah, of
In
course you
India,
need
you
an
just walk
appointment.
in. In India, you just
No,
walk
you need
in.
you need in the emergency room. My mom with a burst, she had a she had a very bad case in March. She was in the emergency room. She was disoriented. My dad didn't know if she has a stroke or what happened. She has some pus pockets on the outside of her intestines, one of those bursts in February, and was flooding her whole system. She was 5 hours in the emergency room waiting for them to assess her and to decide what to do with her.
In India, in 5 hours, she would have been in the recovery room.
Yeah, yeah.
Surgery,
And then
whatever
they
is
said, no,
done,
we can't
finished.
operate. We can't operate you. We can't operate you because you have a lot of scar tissue. And she had like in the 90s, they said you can't be operated in this area in your intestines anymore because it's all too much gone and everything. And then she went to some other doctors. So in that hospital, she was 10 days. And she went to some other doctor, very big professor who told her, no, I'm not going to touch you because you could die on my operation table. What scared her so much. And finally, she came to that one hospital that I was propagating the whole time. I said, go to Kempton, that's next door. It's really nice. So she went to that one, and the guy was like trying to calm her down. She was very nervous. It was a 4.5 hours operation, and they did a very good job. The bill for that 3 weeks of hospital and operation was 20 lakhs. What is covered by insurance to some extent. So some stuff they had to pay, like 200 euros they had to pay out of their own pocket for the anesthesia. My mom was arguing. She was like, "Excuse me, for the anesthesia, you make me pay out of my own pocket 200 euros for the anesthesia. What was I supposed to say? Hey, excuse me, I don't want to be operated." So even if you have an insurance, they're cutting the corners. They're cutting the corners. Ye nahi dena hai, wo nahi dena. My papa is very big. My papa is very tall, and he weighs 110 kgs. So he needs a walker. They approved a walker that goes up to the weight of 75 kgs. So out of his own pocket, he had to pay 180 euros to get a walker that sustains his weight. But they're still paying hundreds of euros every month. As retired people, they pay hundreds of euros every month into their health insurance. One is covered, that is the government one, and the other one for 70%, the other one is 30%, and for the 30%, they have to pay hundreds of euros every month.
You recently went to Germany. Sorry, you recently went to Israel. That's my last question to you.
No, I didn't. I didn't. My
I mean,
partner went.
your partner went, but you've been.
Yes,
I mean, you
I
know
did.
what's happening there. You know what's happening there and stuff.
Yeah, I know what's happening there, but I'm not the expert. He's the expert.
No, I don't want to ask about Israel. I want to ask you about
Oh.
the feeling about the Jews and Israel in Germany.
Oh, that's like a 1.5 hour talk, I think, because it goes back to what happened in the Second World War,
No, no,
the
that we all know that. We
subsequent
all know
guilt
that.
about it. Yeah, the
What's happening today?
subsequent guilt about it. Now there's a lot of support. I think there's a lot of support, and I was just taught that I started following this woman on Instagram. She was always friendly. She was there last year. She got caught in this. She was there on 7th October last year, a German woman. And now she is constantly posting and writing and supporting and very pro. And they just on 7th October in Germany, they had this demonstration
Mhm.
for Israel, and they were surrounded by the pro-Palestine,
Mhm. There was a
like a
clash
ring
also.
around them.
The police went around beating people and stuff. So
Yeah. So. I think a lot of people don't even have never thought about the whole thing at all. A lot of people are pro. What I find sad is my mom told me the story when I was young that she was running a bed and breakfast at that time, and she had this visitor, and they were talking, they were getting along, and that woman was saying, "I think it's time that I should resettle here." And my mom said, "Resettle," and she's like, "Yeah." And mom was, "You were living here when it was a very difficult, traumatic, and dark period?" And she said, "Yes." No, she didn't even say yes. She just opened her sleeve and showed her the
Right.
tattoo. Remember? So if that woman came back and now experiences this, after experiencing that, they were just that generation that experienced the Holocaust has just was about to go, and a new, fresh generation was coming without the trauma. Now we have a new made trauma with the 7th of October.
I love the German people for this one factor that you guys have a guilt of what happened there, right?
Yeah,
But the British don't. They killed 5 million people in Calcutta itself. 6 million
yeah,
Jews were murdered by the Nazis in the camps, right? Total
yeah,
11
but
million Jews died, right? Five
yeah,
million Indians were killed in one city.
yeah, I know. And nobody knows that. If you go in the UK and you ask people about this on the road, they will not know. If you go in Germany and ask somebody about the Holocaust, they will know. So just to end that story, so that woman was, my mom was saying, "I'm so sorry, mom." And that woman said to my mom, it's not your fault. This has nothing to do with you. This is way after your generation. So I found this a very wonderful story that she told me, and a very important story that she told me.
It's,
The problem with demonstrations and whatever is going on, this freedom of speech everywhere, na, where you're allowing everybody to express whatever they want to express, that is also sometimes, I don't know from where they got the humor to say no to Greta Thunberg.
let
Germany
us
didn't
talk.
let
Let India talk
Germany
one time.
didn't Germany didn't let her in the country for the
No,
demonstration.
let us Indian talk one time. We will come out and say what Europe was all about.
Hmm.
What happened with us with the Europeans? We will
Oh
come out
yeah,
and say.
yeah.
People talk. I mean, I have all sympathies with the Jews. What they went through, it's terrible. It should not happen again. But what we went through was worse.
I don't think you can compare. You
You
should
can't.
not.
But it's the amount of
Suffering
people.
and death and
Yeah.
torture and all these things, you cannot. I'm sorry. I don't feel you can say this was worse or that was worse.
No,
Whatever
you
it
can't.
is,
You can't. I agree with you.
everything's
But
bad.
look at us. We've never spoken about it, and nobody in
I
Europe
know.
has come out and said sorry.
Mm.
No one. And the worst part is that today Europeans who fought for the Jews in the Second World War are protesting against them.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I don't understand anything that's going on. I don't understand how I can see an Israeli flag and somebody put a Hakenkreuz in the middle of it. It's just something that I can't compute. It's just something my
Terrible.
brain is not ready to accept. I just like I go blank.
It's terrible.
This
It's
whole
terrible.
idea that is being perpetrated, the machinery behind it, the way they are propagating it, the social media, how active it is. Now, if you scroll on Instagram and they're just like a holiday video or something, you can bet on it. In the comments, there will be free Palestine. It's there. Everything. It's constantly. It's everywhere. It's just something that is all over.
This is going to go nowhere, because you can't make a head or tail of this conversation. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's ridiculous, and it's just weird. People don't recognize their histories. Well, then they're bound to repeat it or have it repeated on themselves. On that
The
note,
problem
Suzanne,
is
it's
that
all.
everybody, once again, everybody just last thing, everybody sees incident as a single outlined incident. Nobody sees आगे पीछे ऊपर नीचे क्या हुआ था, क्या हो रहा था, what happened, where are we going. So everybody just sees that one moment and they don't see what is going around. And that's the problem.
I think this has been a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for the time. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And I like to get the human aspect of it because the news we can get anywhere, and
Huh.
it's not that difficult. That's why I speak to my friend
November.
in
Huh.
as well.
No.
When all this happens, I talk to my friend in Israel as well because he gives me a more humane aspect of the war rather
Okay.
than the headlines. Headlines I can read, I can do the analysis, but
Yeah.
when you get the humane aspect of what's happening on the ground, and Europe to me is centered on Germany. And what happens to Germany will happen to Europe. So November, when you're there, I'm sure I'll be able to, prod you in with some more questions and get you to
Yeah,
give us some
this will
answers
be
out.
very interesting. I'm going with a different perspective. I will look at the country in a different way, and I will have very different conversations. That's for sure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Jai Shri Ram.